So you may have seen a big op-ed, and if you haven't, it's linked on our website. Maybe we can provide a link in the feed here to DeRoy Murdoch, who did a column highlighting Judicial Watch's information about dirty election rolls. And he looked at our information. Of course, it's our information, so we know it's right. And he calculated there are 3.5 million people on the rolls who shouldn't be there, in the sense that they are above and beyond the number of eligible adult citizens of the voting age, of basically people who are eligible to vote. So that's quite a large number. And it shows you why these dirty voting rolls are so important in terms of eliminating so we can have cleaner elections. Because when you have dirty voting rolls, you have potentially dirty elections. And it's so bad now, you have millions of names on the rolls who shouldn't be there. They're either in more places than one, meaning you lived in California, you moved to Florida, you didn't tell Florida you moved, or maybe you did, and yet Florida didn't, or California didn't remove your name from the rolls. So you've got basically a live name there in California for you to legally vote on. Same holds true for people who die. If you die and they leave your name on the rolls, someone could vote in your name quite easily. Maybe get an absentee ballot in your name. We need to have clean elections, and the first step in that regard are clean voting rolls. And to that end, we filed notices with at least a dozen states, California, Georgia, Florida, all sorts of states. The list is on our website, warning them they have more people on the rolls than are eligible to vote. And we just did that recently with California. I already told you about that a few weeks ago. California officials went ballistic, by the way, in responding to us. They say our numbers are wrong. They're not wrong. And if California doesn't clean up the rolls, we can go to federal court to force them to do so. And so that's something we're taking very seriously. And on a related matter, we filed an amicus brief, two amicus briefs, both related in Georgia and in Ohio, to get rolls cleaned in those states. In Georgia, we filed an amicus curiae brief with the 11th Circuit down there, with our friends at the Allied Educational Foundation, often partners with us on amicus briefs. And amicus briefs are legal, basically it just means friend of court briefs. So what happens is there's litigation, and outside groups like Judicial Watch and the Allied Educational Foundation, or on the other side you'll have the left-wing groups like the ACLU, they will file friend of court briefs where we're not actual litigants, but we're trying to get the court to consider certain issues as they consider cases before them. And in cases of Georgia, where we found that there are 10 states, 10 counties where they have more names registered to vote than are actual eligible voters there. Georgia is trying to clean up their rolls with a procedure that's covered under law. And of course, Common Cause, a liberal activist group, is challenging this. So we filed an amicus brief in favor of Georgia. We also filed an amicus brief in Ohio before the Supreme Court, where we're trying to protect a key result of our litigation, which is an Ohio effort to clean up the rolls there. And so the left is challenging that as well. So we have amicus briefs now before the Supreme Court trying to protect our good result in Ohio, because it was our cases in Ohio and Indiana which were the first private cases to force states to clean up the rolls under the National Voter Registration Act. And so those key cases, the key case in Ohio at least, resulted in Ohio doing things, including just, I think, one additional mailing that's at issue, to make sure people are who they say they are, or still live at the address they were given and are still eligible to vote. And so the left doesn't like that. And you've got to ask yourself, why doesn't the left like efforts to clean up voting rolls? Why do they hate election integrity? And I think the inescapable conclusion is that they want to be able to steal elections if necessary. They want to be able to steal elections if necessary. And so we're key in battling this effort to steal elections, and your Judicial Watch is the leading national group fighting back against that. And the left has hundreds of groups allied against us. It used to be the Justice Department was aligned against us. Now it's a little bit better under Jeff Sessions, thankfully. And they may be working to actually clean up the rolls too. But we're not going to rely on the Justice Department. We know how that works. We're going to do the work ourselves and independently. But the left is highly focused on this, and those of us on our side of the aisle, philosophically, we're few and far between. I can think of 2 or 3 groups, maybe a half a dozen lawyers on our side, who focus exclusively on making sure that elections are clean, as opposed to the vast array of left-wing interest groups designed to undermine the integrity of the elections.